Hey everyone, this is Dr. Chris with Radio of Horror, and I thought I would take a moment to create a small video in honor of possibly one of the most well known modern horror filmmakers who passed away on Sunday, August 30th, 2015, of a brain tumor. He was 76 years old, horror maestro himself, Wes Craven. Wes Craven was responsible for creating many, many, many different horror icons and great horror movies. They weren't always hits, and they had to take a while sometimes to find their footing, but or their niche, their love in the horror community. But obviously the most well known project he ever worked on was The Nightmare on Elm Street. I recently purchased, or it was given to me for my birthday, Never Sleeps Again, the story of The Nightmare on Elm Street, the book, this exhaustively large Nightmare on Elm Street book that I have, which is fantastic, which goes into all this great detail about Wes's journey in making The Nightmare on Elm Street. I also have his biography, which I had him sign. In 2013, he was actually in Boston for a book convention of all things, not the Rock and Shock Horror Convention I'm always talking about on my radio show. He was on a fear panel with three other women talking about real life fears, and one woman was a former CIA agent who had been living in Iraq undercover for several years. One was a Boston Globe reporter, and one was a woman who had recently come out admitting that her and her sister were brutally gang raped in a home invasion several years ago they had lied their parents about. And then there was Wes Craven, who directed Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left and The Nightmare on Elm Street. Movies where women get murdered and raped and other terrible things happen to them. It was a very unusual panel. I was very baffled by it. But I got to ask Craven a question on stage. I made a couple jokes about like Swamp Thing, and some people laughed. Some people said, "Oh, you with your jokes." And Craven even smiled, and he thought it was funny. So he has a good sense of humor. And then I got him to sign his biography. I didn't get him a chance to sign in my DVD. We missed that one, but he did sign a Blu-ray that we gave away to charity for Rock and Shock, the horror convention in Worcester, to help raise money for the Pat Brody's Animal Shelter. Wes Craven, of course, would also direct the Scream saga. He directed every movie in the Scream franchise: Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he was an executive producer on the TV series, which I don't think actually means a lot. I think I remember reading that he wasn't involved in it very much, and considering he had a brain tumor and was dying, I don't think he had a lot of time to work on that TV show, which explains a lot of things about that show. I'm sure if Craven had any hand in making it, he probably would have done a lot to make it more like the films and less like 90210. He had his name on a lot of weird stuff, like Dracula 2000, which he was like an executive producer on as well, but didn't have a lot of hand in. He directed a movie called Cursed, which is a werewolf movie, which wasn't great, and Vampire in Brooklyn, which is the only two werewolf or vampire movies he ever directed. People on the Stairs recently came out from Scream Factory, and that's really cool. I have not had a chance to check out the Scream Factory edition of this movie, but I definitely want to now more than ever. He directed New Nightmare, which a lot of people think was the best of all the Nightmare sequels because Craven actually directed it, and it brought Freddy into the real world. And Craven's in it, and Robert's in it, and Robert's playing Freddy, and he's playing Freddy in makeup for a movie, and he's playing Freddy actually in the movie, and Heather Langenkamp's in it. He talks about a thing with Johnny Depp saying that how he was felt very complimented that Johnny Depp said if it wasn't for Wes Craven, he wouldn't have the career he has today. Um, in the actor's studio, I think that's what it was. Craven, of course, is also all over the Nightmare on Elm Street, Never Sleeps Again documentary, the exhaustive documentary, which is like I think like 4 or 5 hours with all the bonus material. It was a true honor and pleasure to meet Wes Craven in 2013. I got a photo with him, so that I will always cherish that. I had a chance to come on the show, and I didn't do it. Um, my favorite movie of all of his films is probably Scream. I know a lot of people are going to say, This Hills Have Eyes is really good. I'm not a big fan of that movie, Last House on the Left. I do like The Nightmare on Elm Street, but Scream really resonated with me a lot more because I was in high school at the time Scream came out in theaters. So that really clicked with me much more. Freddy Krueger, awesome villain, really cool. I love listening to Craven's commentary on the DVD for A Nightmare on Elm Street. It can't be beat. Craven was an interesting man. He had a very unusual upbringing, and you can read about it in his documentary, Holly. A man in his nightmares. He's got this great image where he's holding Freddy's glove in one hand. He's just holding the side of his face. Um, his films are all pretty much on DVD and Blu-ray. You can hunt them down, check them out. A couple of them have just come out again from Scream Factory. Shockers, that's another one he did. Serpent in the Rainbow, I don't think has ever gotten a proper great release. I think it's only available on DVD. And Cursed is a unique werewolf movie. I don't mind it too much, a little bit too much CGI, but I thought it was a quirky, cheesy werewolf romp. I love the fourth Scream movie, and then more than I love Scream 2 and 3. I like the first one and the fourth one the most. And you can definitely see Craven's style in making that type of movie. It Follows is a great homage to Craven because in Carpenter, because of the setting of the small town look clicky group of characters that they have in the movie. And Craven, of course, did that with The Nightmare on Elm Street, and he created something completely new and different. And then he was the writer on The Nightmare on Elm Street 3. He was involved in that, even though he had nothing to do with 2. I know there was some bad blood with him in the studio for a little while. Wes Craven, I can't say enough about how much his films influenced me to be such a huge horror fan and to create Radio of Horror. And it's really sad to see him go. You'll be missed, Wes Craven. Rest in peace.